On May 10, 2026, a US Air Force F-35A Lightning E was operating high above the Gulf of Oman. This stretch of skies, at the absolute center of one of the most dangerous and strategically vital regions on the planet right now. For 73 days straight, this area has been the focal point of escalating conflict and naval blockade that continues daily. Fast attack boats intercepted and sunk, all tankers disabled or harassed, and American carrier-based aircraft flying relentless combat missions since late February. This isn't abstract tension, this is active, kinetic conflict playing out in one of the world's most critical choke points. If you want unfiltered, in-depth military and geopolitical analysis like this, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. During this particular sortie, something unusual happened. The pilot manually entered the Universal Emergency Transponder code 7700. For a few brief minutes, the stealth fighter appeared on civilian flight tracking websites. Then it turned toward UAE airspace and went completely dark, transponder off. By the morning of May 11th, Iranian state media and even the Iranian Consulate General in India were in full celebration mode. They launched a coordinated information operation, claiming this single event proved Project Freedom is collapsing and that the United States was desperately trying to hide combat losses. Today, I'm going to dismantle that narrative completely with clear operational facts. Here's the single most important truth that destroys the entire Iranian story. You do not squawk 7700 when you're taking battle damage in a combat environment. Let me explain why. The 7700 code is not an automatic emergency signal triggered by missile hits, system failures, or battle damage. It is a deliberate, manual input made by the pilot. When a pilot selects 7700, they are telling every radar facility, every air traffic control center, and every military station in range, I have an emergency. Give me priority handling immediately, no delays, no vectors, straight in approach. Real talk of this kind of detailed, no spin breakdown is valuable in a world full of propaganda. Please subscribe and support the channel. It helps us keep producing this content. Think about the logic. A pilot who has just been hit by Iranian surface-to-air missiles or air defenses over contested waters is not going to manually broadcast his exact position, altitude, heading, and distress status to the entire region, especially not to Irani and radar sites and listening posts that are actively hunting him. That would be suicidal. Instead, that pilot would exit the threat envelope at supersonic speed if possible, report via secure military data link and frequency hopping comms, and follow highly classified recovery procedures. What actually happened here fits a completely different profile. The 7700 squawk is the classic signature of a pilot managing a maintenance or technical issue, something serious enough to require priority landing, but not combat damage. The aircraft was likely heading for Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE. Once inside friendly airspace, turning the transponder off is standard operational security. It denies adversaries the ability to map approach corridors, altitudes, landing patterns, and overall base activity during active combat operations. Iranian propaganda turned a routine maintenance and diversion into a fictional shootdown. Classic information warfare. If you're seeing through the propaganda, drop a like right now and subscribe for more. So what was this F-35 actually doing before the mechanical issue forced it to divert? It was conducting one of the most important mission sets in modern warfare, ISR intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance focused specifically on Iran's coastal fast attack boat infrastructure. The F-35A is uniquely suited for this. Its sensor suite is generations ahead of anything else flying. First, the APG-81 AESA radar. This isn't just a detection radar, it delivers high-resolution synthetic aperture radar or imaging capable of identifying individual vehicles, Small boats and equipment under camouflage netting from standoff ranges will outside coast a defense missile envelopes. Second, the APG-40 electro-optical/infrared targeting system. It can detect residual heat signatures from boat engines that operated even hours earlier, even when the vessels are hidden in coves, under netting, or inside shelters. Third, the AESA-239 electronic warfare system. This passively maps enemy radar emissions, radio transmissions, command and control signals, and air defense activity without emitting a single detectable pulse of its own. And then there's the distributed aperture system DAS, which gives the pilot 360-degree spherical situational awareness. The pilot doesn't have to constantly look around for threats. The aircraft feeds fused sensor data directly into the helmet display. This technology edge is massive. If you want me to break down more advanced weapons systems in future videos, make sure you're subscribed. The mission was building a comprehensive target package, not just spotting boats in the water, but mapping every single cove, every covered storage facility, every fuel depot, every maintenance workshop, and every command node that supports the URGC's swarm boat strategy along the Iranian coastline. This is crucial because Iran's playbook relies on hundreds of small, fast, heavily armed boats operating in coordinated swarms to overwhelm naval defenses through sheer numbers and saturation at X. Pause for a second and consider the scale. If you're finding this valuable, hit subscribe. It really helps the algorithm reach more people who need this analysis. Now let's talk about why this matters strategically. The current approach in these waters has been largely reactive, what some analysts call whack-a-mole. When a swarm of fast attack boats leaves port and heads toward shipping lanes or naval vessels, they get engaged and often sunk. But Iran reportedly began this phase of the conflict with roughly 1,000 such vessels distributed across dozens of sites. Sinking them at sea only removes the ones that make it into the water. It doesn't touch the larger inventory still hidden in shelters on land, nor does it disrupt the logistics that allow Iran to keep launching more. The smarter, decisive approach is to strike the entire logistics and support layer at the same time: the hardened shelters, fuel storage, spare parts depots, maintenance unscrews, and command and control nodes. Once F-35s and other stealth assets complete detailed mapping, follow-on strikes become far more effective. B-50s and Bomb BS withstand off-area weapons. F-15E Strike Eagles with penetrating munitions, AA-10s for exposed targets if needed, and naval strike aircraft from carriers. This shifts the fight from endless defensive patrols to a systematic dismantling of Iran's asymmetric naval capability. If you want deeper strategic breakdowns like this every week, subscribe and join the community. Now, let's zoom out to the core issue driving this conflict: the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has demanded full sovereignty over the entire 21-mile navigable width of the strait. This is not a minor negotiating tactic. It reveals their fundamental strategic objective. Under international law, specifically UNCLOS and long-standing customary practice, the Strait of Hormuz is a vital international waterway subject to transit passage rights. No bordering nation can unilaterally close it, control it, or turn it into a toll road. This corridor carries between 20 and 30% of all seaborne oil traded globally, plus massive volumes of liquefied natural gas. Economies across Asia, Europe, and beyond depend on it. China, India, Japan, South Korea all would suddenly be subject to Iranian political leverage if this demand were accepted. For decades, Iran has used mines, harassment, missiles, and proxies to exert implicit control. Now they're demanding formal legal recognition of that extortion. That is structurally incompatible with international order and global energy security. This affects every single person watching through higher energy prices and economic risk. If that matters to you, please subscribe. The nuclear dimension makes compromise even harder. Iran continues to refuse meaningful action on its stockpile of approximately 440 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% material that is one short. Technical step away from weapons grade. This has no credible civilian justification at that level and could provide fissile material for multiple nuclear devices on a compressed timeline. Combined with the Hormuz sovereignty demand, Iran's position was never a realistic basis for genuine de-escalation. President Trump's response was characteristically direct. I've just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. In the end, the Iranian propaganda machine took him and a maintenance squawk and tried to spin it into a major military victory. In reality, that F-35 was doing the quiet, high-value work of building the targeting picture that will eventually allow coalition forces to dismantle the very infrastructure on depends on for its swarm tactics. The boats still hidden in their shelters will learn soon enough exactly what that mission was preparing for. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you want to stay ahead of the spin and get this level of detailed analysis regularly, smash subscribe, drop a like if you learned something, and leave a comment with your thoughts below. I read every single one. See you in the next video.